Today on Deer Farming TV, it's a good one. We have tips and information and the proper technique of cutting off those damaged antlers.
All right, we got him on oxygen right now. We're monitoring his oxygen level in his blood. What we're going to do is we're going to have to cut his antlers off. And of course, he's only probably 2/3 of the way finished grown out. So we're going to demonstrate today when most everybody is in a complete panic mode when you go and you find a deer in your pens that you got to do something with. A lot of times you can leave this, but if you do, you're going to lose him, I'd say 60 or 70% of the time due to antler infection or just the blood loss or the shock or a combination of all. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you, we've got a couple of different methods that we use to cut the antlers off. One, if you don't have anything around, just some wire, some baling wire, something that's easy to bend. You want to cut the circulation. You can see the blood vessels, if you look, that feed this antler. And if you don't shut that off, when we cut this, you'll get a lot of blood flow. We're going to show you how, if we do get some blood flow, how to stop it, and how to, where it's not too big a deal, and you can just wait till the next year and the deer will grow his rack and everything will be okay. But we're going to show you two different methods. We're going to show you one, we're going to cut one and use a piece of wire. We're going to cut the other one and use a band. Both work really good. The bander's really good. It's just expensive. The wire, everybody's got wire laying around. We're going to put an IV in this deer. It's something that's just strictly optional. We do that to help break down the anesthesia drugs and to help hydrate the animal. If you go and you find your deer and he's been in a stress situation, he probably hadn't been drinking much water. The first thing we'll do is put an IV in him. She's hitting it in a vein right in his front left leg. Now, remember the IV deal is a straight optional deal. If you don't have it, it's okay to not do it. It'll just help. And everything that you can do to help these animals at this time in stress will help your survival rate. Same way with the oxygen. You don't have to have a fancy oxygen machine. You can get you a bottle and a regulator and a mask for very little cost and have that around your barn for when you have a problem. These IV kits, I mean, they're less than 20 bucks. No reason not to have those if you're, in your deer barn. All right, now Jimmy's starting to put the piece of wire on. What we want to do, you want to find a spot where you can get that wire all the way as close to the main beam as you can to cut off the circulation of those veins that feed this antler. You want a wire that you really work with. A lot of times we'll put 2 or 3 on there, Patrick. We got Patrick here with TDA going over some stuff from the regional meeting and for the convention coming up. See, Patrick, how we've got, and what we'll do is we'll cut above the wire. See how that wire cuts down in, and every now and then you'll have a vein, you'll have something that you don't cut the circulation off, and then when we get it cut, we'll stick toothpicks in it. It's kind of neat, and stop the blood flow. All right, we're fixing to actually cut the antler off itself. See how the blood's squirting? Now Jimmy will just take and put toothpicks into the veins. Step on up over, you can see it, Patrick. You just stick them down as far as you can get them. And it fills that vein right up. Get the blood to stop. See how he felt around till he found where that vein came out? Guys, you get in this situation, don't panic. You just take your time. You can feel it. You'll actually feel where the vein is. You need to have a lot of paper towels handy. Because I guarantee you when this happens, you think you're going to call the vet, but it's going to be on a Sunday afternoon like it is here today, and the vet's not going to answer the phone. We'll start calling Jimmy Mr. Surgeon.
Those two pieces of wire, they help the outside veins, correct?
Right, and they put pressure, because just like when you felt to that antler, it was soft. So by putting that pressure on the outside, it'll close it off.
Wow.
Their horns at this stage are so fragile. It's so easy for them to break. That's why it's so hard to grow a big deer. Everything's got to go right. Now he's taking a branding iron and just searing the top of it. Jimmy, you look like you've done that a time or two.
Just a few. Still
This searing the top helps with infection.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it helps kills any kind of infection, and it helps stop the bleeding. And we'll leave that wire on. We won't even worry. That wire will, when he starts rubbing off, when his body starts making testosterone, he'll rub that wire right off.
Well, toothpicks, same thing. They
Same
just come
thing.
right out.
They just come out.
Describe what that was.
That's a little aloe shield that we put on. It's just an antibiotic to help keep the flies out and keep it as clean as we can. And what we'll do is we'll put some fly medicine on his neck to try to help prevent the flies to get to him and cause an infection and all. Now this antler we're going to cut off, and we're going to use a bander that is out on the market that works pretty good. Either method works really, really well. Bander you got to be careful with. Sometimes it gets a little dangerous. It'll pop, it gets some pressure, it will get you. All right. Same deal with a bander. You want to put two on it, just like with a wire. I don't know which is faster. They both worked about the same.
Always on the main beam before the brow tine?
Well, sometimes those brow tines will be low and you can't do it, but ideally that's the best place to cut it, is right where he's cutting it. This one's kind of easy. Sometimes you'll get one with a lot of gnarly stuff. It's never the little ones that break, it's always the big ones. So. This is a 2-year-old. It was going to be something if he would have got to finish, but he'll get to finish next year. It's always a little messy. Just remember, don't panic. Find those veins. And you can stick that toothpick right into it. Depending on their growing stage, sometimes you'll put 10 or 12 toothpicks in, sometimes you'll put 1 or 2. I mean, sometimes we'll have to cut these bucks off when they're 6 or 7 inches outside their head. You just never know when they're going to damage them. And those veins is of how well you can get them shut down. Those are just some those have got an end on them Just the good wooden toothpicks. I don't like the ones that are colored because they don't absorb the blood as good. Just the ones that, those are some we were going to use in some Dove wrapped jalapeno bacon, but we switched them up to, we had to use them today. You don't want the little cheap spindly toothpicks though.
It's incredible how much goes into the care of these animals.
We do all we can to try to keep them alive and baby them and get them to, you know, as old as we possibly can to get them in somebody's breeding program.
Just a few hours after this deer is injured, I mean, he's getting the best care possible. That's incredible. Best science, best antibiotics, hard to beat.
That's it. We're gonna give him a shot of antibiotics and we'll get him back out there with all his buddies in the field.